What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this final stream of 2024, the one, the only, Super Dave. That way,
How's it going, everyone?
not this away, that away.
Happy to be here.
Happy New Year, man. Almost.
Happy New Year. Almost, yeah.
Happy New Year to everybody out there as well. This is going to be just really a fun episode. I'll tell you, short kind of story here, and then we'll get into all the stuff we're going to talk about. I'm going to try and do it without coughing because whatever's allergies are in the air again are starting to come back.
Is this a TED
today,
Talk Mini?
Say it again.
Is this a TED Talk Mini?
Oh, man. A mini TED Talk? A real TED Talk? Not yet. I will just say that today's going to be a very special show. It's a great show. We're going to be talking about number one, our favorite movies of 2024. I actually went back and listed all the ones that I watched. Got my scores. Some of them we got a group score. We didn't do a group score for everything, so I'll kind of call out the ones that we did get a group score on. And then we're also going to be talking about our favorite moments of 2024. And that's particularly special because when I started this whole thing with a group of us, we started the Geekcast 9 years ago. I always had these goals in mind. And a lot of those goals were set, man, in 2024. I'll tell you, we did some things that I was unsure that we could pull off, and we did some things that I didn't know were possible. And it's weird because I think you don't understand when you're doing something, when you're planting seeds, and how long it takes for those seeds to like grow and flourish and all that and bloom and blossom. And 2024 was one of those years where, like, man, the years of work, the years of partnering with folks, the years of just treating people well, and the years of giving back to our community. It feels like it just all kind of blossomed all in this year. We did some crazy things. We talked to so many folks. We talked to legends in entertainment that I never thought in a million years I'd get a chance to talk to. And that all happened this year. So, yeah, a lot of really cool stuff that we're going to be talking about today. And we also want to hear from you guys. So if you are watching right now, let us know what you're doing for New Year's. And also let us know what some of your favorite moments of 2024. We got to hang out with a lot of folks out there this year. It was extremely special all around. And yeah, I can't wait to talk about it. But first, I haven't said that in a really long time. We're going to do what we always do, and that is talk about the Geeky Weekly headlines. Yes, sir. Geeky Weekly headlines. As I correct some of my. Oh, that's not the one. Oh, it is the one. Is that the one? That's not the one. I'll do this one. Geeky Weekly headlines. Because especially today, some major breaking news dropped, and we can't wait to talk about it. And the first one involves DC Universe. So let's shift right over to the DCU. First up on the DC news cycles, a big one. Jason Momoa announced today on social media he will be playing Lobo in the Supergirl movie. He actually posted that DC finally asked him to play Lobo, and then like 10 minutes later, all the news outlets started running with the story that he's going to be playing Lobo in Supergirl, which makes total sense if you've seen the animated shows, Supergirl movies, animated movies. Lobo is half the time in those things. He's a intergalactic bounty hunter. He's practically indestructible, um, practically immortal, and he's always hunting after folks. And Supergirl, Kara is usually one of those individuals. So, Dave, your thoughts on Momoa finally getting to play the role that he was born to play?
Yeah, if you've been following Jason Momoa, you've seen that he is a big time fan of Lobo, and this was his dream casting, dream role to play Lobo. Of course, like you said, Lobo's a very powerful being in the DC universe. The more one of the more famous shots of him is Lobo wearing like the black on his face on a motorcycle, and he's tremendously strong, can go to toe with Superman. Um, and that's essentially all I know. And of course, Lobo is Spanish for wolf. So I'm really excited that we did get the confirmation. And I think a year ago, Jason Momoa posted something on social media where he was at the Warner Brothers studios and he just kept on saying, "Oh my God, guys, something incredible just happened. I can't talk about it quite yet." And everyone kind of assumed, okay, well, maybe he got a Lobo film or he's going to play Lobo in something. And now we know for sure he's going to be in Supergirl in 2026, I believe.
I remember that video. It might have been a story, and yeah, it was really cryptic because he was calling out Maestro. He was like, "We did it, Maestro," and he was like, "Maestro, I love you." And it was really odd because sometimes Maestro is what folks call Zack Snyder in like his group,
Hmm.
and then other people thought just something like, he's just doing something else. I'm not even sure James Gunn was brought on when he made that video, but Supergirl could have been in development this entire time. And so yeah, he might have gotten wind that, they need a Lobo for that project.
I want to
I
say
am
James
curious.
Gunn was there.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like it was a really long time ago when he made that post was what I'm saying. Either way, either way, this is the role he was born to play. I'm not saying I wish he didn't play Aquaman. I think he did a fine job. I think it was a really interesting take and it made a lot of sense. But he should have always played Lobo somewhere down the line. Just like Willem Dafoe, even though he was an Aquaman, should always play Joker, and maybe that will finally come to fruition in the DCU if I was running things, but I'm not. So, but hopefully the folks watching at DC can go ahead and make that adjustment. Retro Rays in the chat saying about time. Now he needs to play the Crow, which listen, I am a big fan of the Crow movies. Well, let's be honest, I'm a big fan of the Crow movie. Oh
Right
man,
when I took a drink, Ted.
yeah, yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the one Crow movie, and the franchise and all. Like it has potential, just nobody's tapped into it. Um, Momoa as the Crow, test footage was leaked. He looked fantastic as Eric Draven. I really wish they would have gone through with it. I think what I remember was that he wasn't going to be able to play that role because of scheduling or something else. And so that's when they brought in, I forget the other guy's name, the guy who just
Who
played
actually played him?
Nosferatu.
Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård. That's when they brought in Bill Skarsgård, and then it kind of bombed. And I don't know if I blame Bill for that. I think that's just a project you really have to. We'll talk about DC later because they're doing the same thing. DC, sorry, The Crow is a project you really need to.
Nailed
Um,
the casting.
no, it's not just that. It's you really need to set up the tone and the idea first because 50% of the audience, maybe more, they're already out. They're already going to be like, no, my childhood, Eric Draven, you can't touch him. No one will ever beat Brandon Lee, who unfortunately passed away during that filming, but he was just born for that role, and nobody else can touch it. I think you have to set up the idea and get sort of the audience engaged in like the possibility of doing the crow, but doing it this way. I had a friend in college who had the best idea ever. It was, this is like mid 2000s when I was in college. So she said, we actually don't need a male crow. This is not for anybody who claims wokeness or anything, but she said, we need a female crow. Like, you need sort of like a Harley Quinn type, but less jokes. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, Sinister in nature, still brutal. And the idea was perfect. I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. She kind of envisioned Angelina Jolie, and she would kind of draw Angelina with like the crow makeup on. And I was like, hey, I'm in. If that ever happens, I think that'd be great. Maybe you got to do something like that. And for those saying like we don't need a female lead or whatever, um, well, no one's already jumping on board when you're getting a guy to do it. So write a story with um write a captivating story with a female lead as the crow, and maybe that'll be something that can happen. But I brought up DC to say you and I had this conversation earlier. James Gunn has done a great job of sort of distancing himself from the Marvel talk already. Like, he's sort of already planting those seeds, and I think those are going to be holding true. And this is the stuff that Warner Brothers did horribly when they were launching their universe. Man of Steel, BVS, all those films, Justice League and all that. Everybody was comparing those movies to Marvel. Hey, they made money, but they're not Marvel. Hey, they made money, but they're not Avengers. They're not Avengers Infinity War. And James Gunn's already doing a great job of saying, like, hey, listen, Marvel does things like this. We're going to do things like this. Marvel has a big bad that they're building towards. We're not going to do that. We're going to have multiple villains in our universe that we focus on. He's already doing things differently. He's already telling folks, like, hey, we're not Marvel. We're going to do things our way. And I think that's going to help them in the long run. This is it's a mental game sometimes when movies comes out. Sometimes you announce a film and it takes so long to release that the hype is already gone. Those are the mental games you have to actually like try and focus on and base marketing off of. So yeah, James is doing a great job of that. You a fan of The Crow at all, Dave?
Yeah, I remember watching the VHS when I was in. I want to say I was in middle school, and my buddy had a birthday party, and the movie that we rented was The Crow, and that's when we first watched it. And I mean, it was a fantastic birthday because yeah, we got to see The Crow. Um, and of course there was we bought like a bunch of CDs, and I believe the Black Album Metallica was some of the music we were listening to, so we were very much in the whole mood of watching The Crow, and it was so dark too. That's the one thing that like really stood out. It's like, wow, this is a very dark film, uh, in sense of like lighting as well as like tone, and it was just really cool. It was a really cool experience, and yeah, the whole tragedy behind Brandon Lee in that film. It's what could have been with his career. I mean, he could have been a fantastic action star, not only just being the son of Bruce Lee, but he actually had chops. And I wish the franchise had a better outing this past year with Bill Skarsgård, but unfortunately, um, no one really saw it. So I didn't see it. Did you see it?
I I didn't, and I'm busier than most people.
Yeah.
This work, I'm in a band, I have a family. You know, was it around San Diego when it came out?
I think it came out after like September October time frame, I believe. But I
Uh,
mean, it popped and fizzled, man. Like no real marketing behind it,
I
and
yeah,
yeah,
I think the marketing was slightly below par or below average, but I think it was still there. I just think if you do not prime, that's what I was looking for earlier. If you do not prime an audience for what you're trying to achieve, then the entire like half the battle is already lost. You can't just say we're going to make a movie because then half the folks are going to say you're just making it for the sake of making it. You're not making it for the sake of actually doing anything about it or doing something with it. And
yeah,
it sucks, but we live in an era of social media now, and you kind of have to control the narrative. And if you don't control the narrative, then you leave those out there to make their own assumptions. And believe me, online, people like to make assumptions. So James is doing a great job of controlling the narrative for now, and he really like stuck to his guns. He held his cards to his chest. It took forever to get a teaser for Superman, and lo and behold, it's the fourth most watched trailer of all time. Where he could have been feeding us stuff, he could have tried to give us something for San Diego 2024. He didn't. He said, "Nope, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to take our time. We're going to do things right. We're not going to announce anything until we get a script that's done." Um, for right now, he's sticking to his plan, and I feel like the strategy is working. Soft reboot with Creature Commandos. People are talking about it. They're talking about the cutscenes. They're talking about the visions that we're seeing, the dead heroes that they're showing. It's it's actually working to a certain extent. So yeah, Ray says Keith Giffen also created Blue Beetle, also helped create Lobo. Did not know that. James O'Barr is writing a female crow dropping in a couple of months. There you go. There you go. Hollywood, there you go. Your next big idea is right around the corner. And you need, oh man, you need it's hard to find kind of a female action star, not because there's not any. It's because I feel like they're all smaller. Like the female actors, they're sort of smaller in size. They're all like mostly petite. All the famous ones are petite right now. Like I don't want to see Jenna Ortega in an action movie just because I know she's 4 foot what 8
yeah,
maybe.
yeah. But I mean, they have powers, though. You can't really kill them.
Yeah, but there's
An
got to be
imposing
some
factor.
sort of intimidating factor.
Hmm.
Nah, we'll see. There's ways of doing things like making them right and all that stuff, figuring it out. But it would have to be somebody who. It's also hard to find. I mean, I can't think of any martial art type female or acrobatic female stars right now.
Someone like a Sophia Butella.
Oh, now you're talking. Okay, there you go. And I think she would look really cool with the makeup on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
I
did
just
not.
feel that if you're gonna cast, you're gonna have to get a big name because the Crow to us in our like geekdom, it's a huge IP, but to the general public, it's really not like a Batman Superman type thing. So I think they really have to make a splash. And when you said Jenna Ortega, I was like, okay, yeah, that would probably make some money because she has a lot of fans. So I think fans would flock to it, and it would have a better box office result as opposed to someone like a Sofia Boutella, who fits the part but doesn't have that huge social media fandom tied to her. And then of course she was in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, which didn't do great.
Yeah, yeah. I forget how well or bad it did, but yeah, I think you're right. You're not
Yeah.
wrong. So for folks who don't know this, a studio. really, really factors in a film's budget based on the names of the stars that are in it. You got Jenna Ortega? Cool. Here's $80 million just because you have Jenna Ortega. We will know we'll make a dollar amount, and that's not the real amount. I'm just letting you. That's like a theoretical number. But Sofia Boutella is probably a quarter of that or a fraction of that, just because you're right. She's not as big of a name on social media. Doesn't have a huge following as Jenna does, and so yeah. Maybe Barrera. What's her name? Is it Stephanie Barrera from Scream?
Yeah. She's not going to be in the next screen, but yeah, that's a possibility too. But that also kind of falls into the camp of casting like a Sofia
Mhm.
Boutella. She's not a really big name.
No, no. Who's the? We're so old. I keep forgetting things. The Smile Two girl.
Yeah. Um, she's actually British.
Oh, that's fine. Naomi Scott.
Yeah, Naomi Scott. Yeah.
Naomi Scott, especially after Smile Two. She's got a big following, I think, and she's shown her acting chops. We know she can play a physical role because she was in Power Rangers. She played our most recent Kimberly in a cinematic universe. And so, yeah, I think a Melissa Barrera or a Naomi Scott type could really pull off like a female crow role. And no, we're not saying it's happening. We're just theorizing. That's what you get to do on these type of shows. Ray agrees. Barrera could pull it off. Very nice, very nice. All right. That any other DC news? I feel like other than Momoa, it's been a little quiet on the big stuff. Did you hear anything
Well,
else?
I mean, the other ginormous news on DC is the fact that they're pushing back the Batman
Oh my
Part
God, you're
2.
right.
And a lot of people are freaking out about it. And I'm like, hey, everybody, calm down. Let's calm down here. It's just another year. It's not a big deal. It's gonna come to us. James Gunn, he's very transparent. He said the script hasn't been finalized, and he made it very clear, which is a great thing in my opinion, that they're not gonna rush into anything unless they have a finalized script, which should be the rule for every studio. Don't rush into anything. Make a good product, quality over quantity. And that's what I like about James Gunn. He's telling everyone what the deal is. And James Gunn even gave examples of other franchises all the years between sequels. It's like, guys, it takes time to make great stuff. So everyone can just needs to really chillax here. It's gonna be good. We just need a great script here. It's coming. It's on the way.
Absolutely. For anybody who might not have heard, the script is still unfinished, like Dave said. Best estimates, because it's not done yet. So these are just estimates. Best estimates having coming out probably October of 2027. They like that October window. I like it too. It's my birthday month. Just saying. So maybe October 1st, 2027. The thing that nobody's mentioning, and I think it's okay because it is a personal thing, is Matt Reeves is going through some personal stuff, and so that's kind of taken the focus, and that's okay because when people go through things, movies aren't as important. It's important for you to kind of resolve the situation and take care of your mental health and all that. And I don't know how good or bad things are for him right now, but I think if it's out there, people are talking about what personal things he's going through. So if you really care about looking it up, you can look it up. I'm not a scooper. I don't have any inside information. It's literally just what people are talking about. But for me, it's just like, hey, man, he's going through things, and he's gonna finish the script later on, and hopefully it's great. Hopefully it is. It also doesn't hurt because it's giving Andy Serkis time to work on Hunt for Gollum right now. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? He's not having to rush that, and he's Alfred in Robert Pattinson's Batman. So it's kind of helping out other folks that the Batman 2 is taking a little bit longer to come out, and now we get to enjoy what's going to be what a Clayface movie, maybe in this universe. It's kind of weird. You don't know if it's going to be the DCU sometimes. You don't know if it's going to be Robert Pattinson's, but they're going to treat Clayface like they're treating the Penguin. So if they wanted to, they could do it in Pattinson's universe. Although Pattinson's universe is a little bit more realistic than I think Batman's real comic verse is. So we'll see what happens with that. But Dave's right. Um, it's going to take time. It'll be here before you know it. We have so many other things we're going to be watching leading up to the Batman 2, especially with the DCU. There's so many great films coming out. Marvel will have us taken care of. Other franchises are growing and expanding. So we just gotta wait it out, take our time. It'll get here when it gets here. Ray says we may get an Elseworlds. Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's a definite possibility for sure. All right, that sort of I think covers DC news for this week. Nothing really major besides that. We already talked about the Superman trailer that dropped a few weeks ago. So why don't we head on over to the Marvel side of things? In Marvel news, we got our first trailer for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. No, not freshman year. Whatever reason they took that off. I guess they didn't want us really counting on that or holding them to the timeline of all that stuff. But the kind of cool news that came out, other than the trailer, which you can now watch on our social media page, is we're going to see some very familiar faces, including one Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, because they will be back as their respective roles as Daredevil and Kingpin in the animated Spider-Man series. Dave, your thoughts?
That's terrific. I love it when Marvel does stuff like this. They bring in the live action talent, have them do the voice acting for the animated stuff. It's great. Yeah, I love it when they tie it all together like that. Makes me as a fan more interested in these types of animated shows. And I just recently saw the trailer and I was kind of surprised that a lot of people weren't making a bigger deal of this. We finally got this trailer. We got it a full blown trailer. Got to see Peter Parker. Got to see the animation style. Got to see some action. Got to see, like you said, familiar faces. There was a Captain America sighting in there, and to see like his new kind of. You get to see two new uniforms that he has, and the one at the very end was like really, really shocking, and it looks really cool. It's almost like a reverse Venom style suit. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to it. Spider-Man is of course I think the biggest superhero that Marvel has, and of course they share it with Sony, and they got the rights to do this. So um, I'm happy that they're working well together.
I'm not completely sold on the style of it. I think I need to watch it when it comes out because it's very Archie Comics.
Yes, yes. I like that old style. And then they had the old school theme song. I was like, wow, this could possibly work like this. I mean, the animation is not too difficult to render and to create. So they can really concentrate on the story and it's not going to take too long to produce these. So we can get pretty far into the future with Spider-Man. This might be a pretty big hit, I think. There's a lot of potential.
For folks who want to learn more about this animated show, there is a prequel comic, and Ray's in the chat saying it is hot. It's flying off the shelves. So if you get a chance to pick it up, I only heard about this prequel comic I think earlier today, like this morning.
And
I
I
read
believe they
it.
show it in the intro of the trailer too.
I just thought that was just part of a a cool like, hey,
Yeah, I don't
our
know. I'm not
show
sure
looks
about
like a
that,
comic
but
book
it,
because
it
it
was like
is.
it was like kind of like a mirror of Amazing Fantasy 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man, but with this suit on that you see pictured in the video here.
Yeah, I'm excited. It looks the story looks cool. Ton of characters, great return characters like these guys here, who I don't ever want to see stop playing these characters. I'm not sold on the style, but again, I want to watch it and really get a feel for it and see how it kind of turns out that way. Because that's what we need to do, folks. If we're unsure about something, we should give it a shot. And then if we still feel that way, then we can probably bitch and complain and moan about all that stuff. And that even goes for Norman Osborn,
Yeah.
which, listen, he had waves in the old comics and he had waves in the old animated shows. The reason why he had waves is because that's most African Americans can pull that off, and not necessarily anybody outside of that. So let's see how it goes. He's being played by, is it Coleman Domingo who's playing him?
Are you serious?
Yeah, you didn't hear that?
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
All right, now you got me questioning myself here. I'm gonna make sure I'm not wrong about this.
Because Coleman Domingo's star is like rising quickly here. If but I mean Marvel is top tier, so I mean it's not that much of a shocker. But I'm shocked that he's doing this. I mean, maybe this will lay like inroads for him to do Osborn in a future something or other.
Yeah, now I can't even find my
Do you
phone.
know who's voicing Captain America? Or is
No,
that not even a voice? This just like a picture?
I don't know if that's intentional. Like I don't know if it's a reference. Yeah, he's playing Norman Osborn. I don't I don't know if it's just a reference to Cap or if we actually will see a Cap. And I'm looking through the cast list right now.
They got Stan Lee in the cast.
Hey, Zeno Robinson's playing Harry. Zeno was on the Young Justice series as Cyborg, so I'm really excited about that.
Oh,
Very
actually, I'm
short
looking at the
cast
wrong
list.
thing here. I'm
Say
looking at
what?
1994 Spider-Man cast list,
Nailed
and it has
it.
Stanley listed there.
I was wondering how that was gonna work out, Dave. I was like,
Well, I
Stanley?
mean, they do it all the time in Star Wars with like James Earl Jones, you know.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, Coleman Domingo, the great Coleman, is playing Norman Osborn. And should this universe mimic the live action, because Charlie and Vincent are in this universe, maybe Coleman could eventually be a version of Norman Osborn, and we really should give Coleman a shot because he is a solid, solid actor, and he could pull off the waves. Nobody else can. Come on, guys. It's literally Osborn with waves in his hair, and Coleman can do that. All right. What are you looking up now?
I'm just looking at the cast. So yeah, Kari Walgren is going to play Aunt May. She's very young looking. Hugh Dancy is going to play Otto Octavius, and I believe he's married to Claire Danes. Charlie Cox, of course, Eugene Bird, who we all know his face, is going to play Lonnie Lincoln. Paul F. Tompkins, who's a comedian, is going to play Bentley Whitman. You mentioned Zeno Robinson's going to play Harry Osborn. Timms is going to be Peter Parker. Grace Song, Nico, and Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin. All right.
Yes, sir. Okay, this next bit of news is not Marvel related, but equally as somewhat interesting for some folks. Jared Leto is confirmed to be playing the live action Skeletor in the Masters of the Universe movie that's been in development, it feels like, for like 10 years. But Dave, your thoughts on Leto?
It makes sense because I mean he's a very skinny guy. Um, he can pull out like whatever they choose to do. I mean, I think we all think back to Frank Langella's portrayal as Skeletor in the Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe, and they pulled that off really well. If we all kind of think about it, the makeup that he wore, um, yeah, I mean Jared Leto, for all intents and purposes, he's a great actor. I know. I think we all kind of jumped to his portrayal of the Joker, and we're maybe kind of lukewarm on that. But I mean, he is an Academy Award winning actor, and he has been acting all his life, as well as being the front man for 30 Seconds to Mars. But yeah, man, he can act. Depending on what route they take to, I mean, is he going to be wearing like a performance capture suit with the camera in front of his face with dots on his, I mean, what are they going to do? That's the question. I don't think they really told us exactly how they're going to bring Skeletor to life, but I'm interested to hear what his voice is going to sound like. I know we see all the memes and all the video memes of Skeletor telling us um, weird and ironic things and then running out the cave.
Everybody, tell us the last one that you saw. If you're watching right now, what's the last Skeletor meme you watched? I watch those daily, and I can't remember any of them.
Yeah, and there's one that says something like 1993 was 30 years ago. Till we meet again. And I'm like, oh, that's a long time ago.
I like you. I consider Leto to be a fine actor, Academy Award winning for Dallas Buyers Club, I believe,
Yeah.
which I absolutely love that movie, and he was incredible in it. Um, and I think Sony tricked him into playing Morbius.
I think he wanted Morbius like really bad.
I think all the actors say that because they think I'm in the MCU. Like seriously, a lot of actors and actresses were like feels like they've been misled into
Well, he
joining.
felt very betrayed when Joaquin Phoenix got the Joker film. He thought he should have done that movie, and then he's like, "Well, I'll transition to something else," and then he did Morbius, and that didn't turn out that great. But yeah, he's kind of one of those like really talented actors that kind of has a bad streak of films tied to them.
Maybe he needs to get out of the IPs for a minute, which this is not it. Clearly,
Yeah,
some other kind of just rapid fire news. Stranger Things will premiere in 2025 as expected. They wrapped a little over a week ago. I am
yeah,
super stoked for Stranger Things, the final season. Also, I think 2025, we have a lot of stuff to look forward to. Final season of Stranger Things, final season of Squid Game, the return of Dexter Morgan and Dexter Resurrection, which I know some fans are on the fence about. Handmaid's Tale. Bro, I did not trust anybody when they said Handmaid's Tale was fantastic, and I binge watched the like four
wow,
seasons or five seasons like a year and a half ago maybe,
yeah,
and I was even pissed. I was like, "That's it? Where's the next season?" And they're like, "Well, they're writing it. Takes time. Takes like years for them."
yeah.
So I think the final season of Handmaid's Tale is dropping in 2025. Yeah, so a lot of stuff to look forward to, not just the movies that we're talking about, but also TV. We're being spoiled. Some really solid TV writing. It maybe not feel like that to some folks, but seriously, you're living in an era where like TV is kind of at its peak right now. Multiple just incredible shows are all sort of coming to an end next year. And can they all stick the landing? I think they can. I really do think they can because they all take their time. Nobody's Game of Thrones rushing to the finish line in any of these scenarios. So yeah, really looking forward to all those shows. That's kind of it for the uh Geeky Weekly headlines. Okay, I'll do one more. This is I've already mentioned it. Dexter Resurrection series. Michael C. Hall is coming back as Dexter, and a lot of folks love that information. Like we got a ton of comments about that on social media. So a lot of folks, majority of the folks, are really excited about it. I kind of am too. Michael C. Hall is a fantastic actor, and I kind of want him to keep continuing to be popular and to be playing, some captivating roles. I don't know if I wanted to only be Dexter for him. It's kind of like Michael Keaton didn't want to be Batman his whole life, so he went off and did other things. Michael C. Hall is so talented that he should have been given other roles by now that he can sort of stick with for a minute, but that hasn't happened yet. So, Showtime, in partnership with Paramount Television, they are expanding their Dexterverse. I'm the one calling it that, not them. They haven't done that. And in that universe of Dexter, they've already written a Trinity prequel series. Now, some of you folks might be watching the Dexter prequel series. My wife and I are. We're enjoying it thus far. And I will be making review videos based on the Dexter prequel series. And John Lithgow, who plays arguably one of the greatest antagonists of all time, he's already agreed to be a part of this new prequel series that will cast a younger Arthur, aka Trinity Killer, and that's all we know for now. The show's already been written. They don't have any release date plans yet. What they're going to do is they're going to finish Dexter Original Sin, which is already airing on Paramount Plus. You can also catch the first episode for free on YouTube. Check our stories for that link if it's still there. And then they're also going to release Dexter Resurrection. And if both shows do well, if the audience is there, if the franchise is reinvigorated, then they'll go ahead and start production on the Trinity series. And I think that could be something. It's one of those things where like you're watching the Star Wars prequels and you want to be extremely excited, but you kind of already know where this is going. You know what I mean? I know it's going to happen to Anakin. I know it's going to happen to the Republic. So there's a little bit of a, we kind of know where this road ends. I kind of feel that way about the Trinity series because we know he's not ever going to get caught. We know he's going to best any detectives or anyone that's trying to capture him. But I still feel that there could be a compelling story to tell in the background, in the scenes. Um, him trying to stay out of being captured and whatnot. So it could be compelling. Were you at all a fan of these shows?
I've never seen an episode of Dexter.
I
It's on
I hi-
Showtime, right?
yeah, Showtime.
Yeah.
Actually, they're now on Netflix. The original
Ah,
series.
okay. Yeah, I never had a chance to get into Dexter because I think it used to air on Showtime exclusively. So yeah, I had Showtime all my childhood, but I didn't have it in my adulthood. So,
Well, Rage
but
in
I
the
know that
chat.
is a big following.
Oh yeah, Rage in the chat saying the prequel is good and he's down for the Trinity show. Absolutely. All right. We want to get your guys' thoughts on the headlines of the week. If you had something that we missed, call it out. Throw it in the chat. Let us know. Let's talk about it. But I think that's pretty much all the big stuff. And to Dave, if you do watch the original Dexter show, it's kind of got a Game of Thrones going on. you only watch like the first 4 seasons,
Mm.
because then there was a big writer's strike after the fourth season, and so like quality kind of took a nosedive,
Mm.
and the ending borderline, oh, terrible ending, and that's coming from a diehard fan.
Mm.
Like there was a number of avenues they could have taken the show, and they
Yeah.
chose the worst. All right, let's do this. Let's do our top movies of 2024. And so I asked Dave to bring his top 5 movies of 2024. I have my list. Dave has his list. And for those of you watching, give us your own list, top 5 or just top 3 movies of 2024 that you watched. And Dave, go ahead, man. Take it away. What do you got?
All right. So my number 5 film of 2024. I know a lot of people are gonna scratch their heads on this one, but for me personally, it was Megalopolis. It was a huge flop at the box office, but I followed Francis Ford Coppola everywhere on the internet. I listened to all of his interviews. I really paid attention to what he was going for in the film. And watching the film, you really kind of get where he was coming from. A star-studded cast, just star after star after star. He called in every favor. It was self-funded. He sold a winery, I think, in France or something to fully fund this $250 million movie.
Wow.
Um, so he paid for it all himself. He just had to find distribution. They showed it at the Cannes Film Festival. He got a standing ovation. Starred Adam Driver, of course. Um, Tons of stars. I mean, so many people in Aubrey Plaza, DB Sweeney, Shia LaBeouf, um, Giancarlo Esposito. Um, so many actors. Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, you go on and on and on. But I really liked it. I got it. I got it. It was almost like a futuristic film in a way, and there was a whole kind of audience participation aspect of it as well. And I thought that was very interesting. And I believe it's been done before, but it's not really a popular thing where someone in the audience like gets up and speaks to the movie and the movie speaks back. I don't think a lot of people knew that didn't watch the film at an IMAX. I got to see it at an IMAX thanks to Countdown, and I really liked it for what it is. It's not a mainstream film at all, but I really thought it was really cool, and I understood the message, and it was about humanity really, and where we're going in the future, and about sons and daughters and parents, a lot like what Star Wars talks about. And of course, Francis Ford Coppola, he's a really close friend with George Lucas, and they have the whole famous thing where if it wasn't for Francis Ford Coppola, would Star Wars even exist? Because they founded a film company called American Zoetrope and made their home base in San Francisco. And Francis Ford Coppola challenged George Lucas, and he said, "I bet you can't make a comedy." Then he went out and did American Graffiti, and then George Lucas was like, "Well, I'm going to do something different than that, even." And then he came up with Star Wars. So, um, and of course, Francis Ford Coppola has done some of the greatest films of all time, the Godfather trilogy and Apocalypse Now. Just one of the uh, one of the directors that will always be remembered, probably forever. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. My fourth film is another film that a lot of people didn't go see. It should have made a lot more money, but it was Transformers One. I got to see that at a advanced screening as well. Terrific cast once again. You had Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry as a Megatron, and it was sort of like a prequel to the story we all know. Took place on Cybertron, and before they actually came to Earth, and it was a really good story. The animation was fantastic. Um, it was entertaining. I was in there with a lot of kids. The kids loved it, but it just didn't have that pop at the box office, and I think that's pretty much due to all the live action Transformers films that came before it. But it was a very solid film. I wouldn't mind watching it again. Actually, my third film of 2024, the third most liked of 2024 is Alien Romulus. We were anticipating this film for a very long time. Fede Alvarez was directing it. Very much think that he's one of the best directors out there, as a lot of other critics and film people do. And he pulled it off. He made a great Alien film. They kind of got back to formula in a way, and they introduced a lot of innovative things in the film. And of course, there was the familiar tropes that we got with the female protagonist and Kaylee Spaney, who's another big time rising star, and the performance of David Johnson as the synthetic. A lot of people regard his performance as one of the best of 2024, and the effects were awesome. The fact that they got a I believe a European basketball player to be in one of the suits and for it to be practical. People were just so freaked out about that because when you watch the film, it's a massive creature in the film, and everyone seemed to love it. Made a lot of money. I think the budget was I think $80 million or something very low. So
Wild.
they made a really nice decent profit, and it led to some speculation and some talks that maybe if Disney, who owns 20th Century Fox and owns the rights to Alien and Predator, maybe they're going to visit an Alien Predator reboot type of situation and get Dan Trachtenberg and Fede Alvarez to co-direct an Alien versus Predator, which would be fantastic. And there's an upcoming Predator film that Dan Trachtenberg has directed. We're looking forward to that. But yeah, Alien Romulus, third most favorite of 2024. My second most favorite was a total shocker, a total surprise to me. It was one of the surprise screenings at Fantastic Fest. It was Better Man. I was shocked. A lot of Americans aren't really that familiar with Robbie Williams. I am, because I'm cultured now. But yeah, he's a UK, he's a British pop star. And I've known of him for a little bit. I can't remember the first time I actually listened to his music, but he actually held a record for concert attendance, I believe, at a specific stadium in the UK until not until this year Taylor Swift broke that record, but it stood for a really long time. That's kind of to show how big of a pop star he is overseas. Not so much in the States, but and I had people in my secret showing get up and say, "Who's Robbie Williams?" But it was
Horrible.
yeah. Better Man was a film that was directed and written by the same person who directed The Greatest Showman. So it really wasn't a true musical. There were some musical kind of scenes, but it was all Robbie Williams music, which I was all familiar with, and it was pretty cool to see that aspect. And it was basically a biopic from him being a little kid to being an adult, but the kind of unique aspect that they threw in there was instead of having an actor on screen just straight up playing Robbie Williams, they had the actor there, but they had the actor kind of overlaid with a almost like a Planet of the Apes style ape, and that's what you saw. You saw an ape, a humanoid ape, as Robbie Williams living out his life in the biopic, which was kind of a very kind of off the wall, innovative type of idea there. So it was really
When you
cool.
told me that, I thought you were joking with me. I thought you were trying to like pull a fast one on me, and I was just like, I don't believe you. That's not something that's ever been done. And sure enough, like, yeah, check the trailer, check the poster. That is insane.
Yeah. And I saw it at Fantastic Fest, and they were giving us hints and clues to what it was. And the moderator came out with a big ape hand around her. And I'm like, are we going to get a King Kong film here or something? But I think that's the only prop they could find that could kind of relate to having some type of like ape in the situation um, for the movie that we're going to watch. But yeah, it was a fantastic film, fantastic biopic. I'm a fan of a good biopic. I mean, it's to me, it's up there with um, the Freddie Mercury biopic. Um, what was the name of that movie? I'm trying to remember. I just saw a video of Robbie Malek talking about on the Graham Norton show, talking about how he took a.
Was- Wasn't it just Bohemian Rhapsody?
Was it okay?
I think it was.
I don't remember anymore. But
But it was up there with Ray is also one of my favorite sort of biopics. Ray Charles
yeah, I liked it. I liked it more than Ray, more than the Jamie Foxx Ray film. I thought it
or
was
La
terrific.
Bamba.
Yeah, I haven't seen La Bamba in decades, but yeah, Better Man was such a shock and a surprise. I was hyped up. I did a review in my car for it, and the official Fantastic Fest Facebook page posted my review, and that was really cool. I was super excited. I went straight to Apple Music and played all of Robbie Williams essentials as I drove back home from Austin, back home. Um, so yeah, Better Man. It was in select theaters during Christmas, and I think it's going to be released to the general public in January. So yeah, that was my number two favorite film of 2024, and of course, the number one film of 2024 is Ted.
Well, this is a toss up. I'm gonna because it's you. I'm probably gonna say Dune 2. Did you
No,
forget Dune?
no, I didn't forget Dune. I didn't like Dune as much as everyone else did.
Okay, so then your number one is Deadpool 3.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was Deadpool, Wolverine. We were at San Diego Comic Con. We got to go watch it at San Diego movie theater. Watch 30 minutes of trailers beforehand, and then we finally got it in glorious. I guess what is it 4K? The picture was so clear, and we got to watch it together. And that opening with In Sync was just insane. We had been waiting years and years and years after Deadpool 2 to get this film. And then when they made the whole trailer announcement with Hugh Jackman kind of in the same house as Ryan Reynolds walking up the stairs, eating an apple, saying, "Yeah, I'll do it." The internet was set on fire. The internet was broken at that time, and everyone was like, "Okay, yeah, this is going to be a fantastic film." And it was. And then all the cameos that we finally got a live action Gambit. It's like a spoilers for Deadpool Wolverine. Um, we got Jennifer Garner back. There were some cameos that we thought we were going to get, we didn't get, but that's okay. We still got the Deadpool Wolverine that I think we were all kind of expecting. And I think Ryan Reynolds hit all the beats that we were hoping to see. Star Wars, take notes on that. And and they have a little bit because Sean Levy, the director, is going to direct a Star Wars film.
Mm.
So hopefully that all works out. But yeah, Deadpool Wolverine was the movie of 2024. I don't care what anyone says. We've been waiting for that for so long to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the way they achieved that was hilarious. It was smart. It was entertaining. It was kind of everything I think people hope for. And of course, the box office was insane. The highest grossing R rated film of all time. Everyone went to go see it. I'm pretty sure kids saw it. Kids learned a lot about life in that movie. But yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. That movie was. It's gonna be locked into my core memories. That experience we had at San Diego Comic Con, where we saw that together, and um, it was fantastic, man. It was such a celebration of the fact that that movie got created, and it became a reality, and we're post Deadpool and Wolverine, and it seems like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is going to reappear in subsequent films, probably Avengers, um, possibly Doomsday, but most likely Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing, man. He's getting up there in age and still playing Wolverine, and the whole joke
Till
in the
he's
movie was till he's
90.
90. Yeah, but yeah, that movie, man, that was just bonkers, and it was a great landmark MCU film, probably the best out of the multiverse saga, and hopefully Doomsday will top it. Who knows? But we got a few Avengers films coming out. But yeah, that's my 2024. I guess I'll give a nod to Dune 2. I think everyone kind of overloved it, in my opinion. I mean, to me
Wow.
it was a little straightforward. I mean, I was kind of shocked how much people were like just gushing over it, and it's like, well, I mean, guys, we know what's going to happen. It's in the book. We've seen it before. I mean, the performance was good, but I mean, from Timothy Chalamet, but I'm not. I mean, Javier Bardem to me, I think, kind of stole that film. He kind of outshined what was asked from him, and of course, Josh Brolin was in it, friend of the podcast. I actually have something in my house right now that Josh Brolin wore, which is wild. The Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I still haven't shipped it to Colin, but
yeah. Sorry, Colin.
hey, he left it here, so I was like, okay, if you want to leave it here,
We'll
um,
get it back eventually, Colin.
yeah,
All right. So, if anybody watching, Dave's top 5 films of 2024. Number 5, Megalopolis. Number 4, Transformers 1. Number 3, Alien Romulus. Number 2, Batman. And number 1, Deadpool 3. We actually have Retro Ray in the chat who wants to give us his top 5. Let's go ahead and read those. Number 5, Abigail, which is a sleeper. Love that one. That was a great horror gore fest. Terrifier 3, which you can't argue against. I mean, it did huge numbers at the box office and has a huge following now. Transformers 1, Wicked number 2, and Deadpool and Wolverine number 1 for Retro Ray. Medrith is in the chat saying, Farmer Ted, how's it going, Med? How are you? How are you? And she says, Transformers was great. Absolutely. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Okay, I'm not going to ask you now, but I'm going to ask you when I'm done to have your honorable mentions or your worst 2 or 3 of 2024. I know mine. I just want to get yours. All right. So for me, I'm gonna go same order Dave was, and we have some overlap. We have some that are not. So for me, number 5, I think everybody forgot about this one. I did not. It was a tremendous experience watching it in a very loud IMAX theater. Civil War. Civil War. Fantastic film. I love things that are original and they are bold and they make new attempts. And this movie was like that. It was clearly determined on the decisions they were making, when they would use music, when they would use sound, when they would remove all the sound. A lot of it was practical effects from like start to finish, and it was just intense. It was intense. Not at all a reflection on like American politics. It more so was a sort of American culture and how it absorbs media more than anything else, in my opinion. And it was solid. I enjoyed the hell out of it. So number 5 for me, and Kirsten Dunst was incredible in it. and her co-star, who I forget his name right now. Oh, look it up because he was so good. Wagner Mora, who played Joel, who was also in Narcos Mexico. I believe it was Narcos Mexico. No, just the original Narcos as Pablo Escobar. Man, I cannot believe he's not in every major movie right now because he was impeccable in Civil War. So he needs to just somebody needs to pick him up and just start putting him in everything. He was awesome in Civil War. All right. Moving on. Number 4 for me, much like Dave, Alien Romulus. This one really showed us the potential of what the Alien franchise can be in the 2000s, in the 2020s, going forward. They went out of their way to give us stuff we're familiar with. They went out of their way to give us additional lore, to expand on what we know about face huggers and everything else, and to give us new scenarios and situations, which sometimes horror movies or sci-fi movies don't do that. They kind of give you the same um, formula over and over again, and I don't. It's not good. That's not a good sequel. A good sequel will push and progress forward and try new things, whether they fall flat or not. At least you're attempting to give us new things, trying out a new formula. Alien Romulus did that, especially with the face huggers in the water. Fantastic. Just the face hugger horde in general. I mean, I feel like there's been some scenes where like, oh, there's a lot of face huggers around, but there's never been like there's 500 face huggers chasing us down a hallway type situation, and that was incredible. So amazing. All right, that was my number. That was my number 4. My number 3. This might surprise some folks. I apologize if it's out there. Long legs. Oh my god. Yeah. It's not even just that Nick Cage was in it doing something he's quite possibly never done before. But very similar to Civil War. You can clearly see the style. You can clearly see the vision is what I'm looking for. You can clearly see the vision and what they were going for. There would be moments where they would go from the wide format to a one by one format, like a box square, and sort of give you like a retro sort of style footage in order to sort of invoke this like old time era that we're kind of being transferred to. The hidden elements in the movie, very Exorcist like. I was watching it. This is what happens when you don't take a friend with you. There's nobody next to you where you can be like, "Hey, did you see what I saw? Did you just see what I saw?" No, it was me by myself.
I'm sorry I wasn't there, Ted.
It's okay. I don't know if it's okay, but you would see things and your mind would play a trick on you and you would immediately be like, Did I just see what I thought I saw?" And I had to wait till the movie was over to go talk to other folks that were there. Hey, did you see this? Did you see that? The movie did a great job of hiding things in corners, in shadows, silhouettes. I'm not gonna say who or what they were, but just very Exorcist like, and it did a great job of incorporating horror elements that we're sort of familiar with and that we've seen before, and then it did a great job of just invoking this unsettling tone that was relentless. I had never been in a movie where I was sort of feeling this unsettling feeling for like 90% of it. Really good movies can pull that off. Really good movies can pull that off. That's not an easy thing to do. It's one thing to like be a gore fest movie and like show somebody's fingernail getting pulled off or something. Nothing like that. just the uneasiness that and the tension that the scenes are building, it was fantastic.
As
Um,
soon as you started talking about that stuff, like stuff in the background, I looked at your background. There is stuff moving in your background.
is it
Other
Vader?
shoulder, Ted. Other
Is it
shoulder.
Vader?
No, it's your badge. It's like I guess you have a fan on, maybe or something.
Yeah, I do have a fan over here
Okay.
on the ground. Let's hope that's what it is, folks. Now, if Slimer starts spinning his head, then we have some problems. But yeah, Long Legs. My God, solid film. If you haven't seen it yet, it's really whether or not you probably feel like you would enjoy it. I wouldn't recommend it to somebody who, and I'm not trying to say like I need to see those movies all the time. It's every once in a while where you can kind of sit in that type of movie. I mean, I can only watch Exorcist once every like 10 years. I cannot watch it more than that. So it's just a matter of whether you can kind of sit through that type of movie and not feel like you need to go to church right away. That kind of thing. Number two, Wicked. I know nothing about the Broadway show. I know Ariana, of course. I don't know Cynthia. I'm less familiar with, who is also a Broadway star who played Elphaba. And when I tell you that I was thoroughly impressed by this movie, I mean it. It was the set pieces, the cinematography, the acting, the witty writing, the humor, and the best part about this movie, I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I am somewhat of a artist, not a musician, not an artist. I'm somewhat of a musician. The best aspect of this movie was they recorded their vocals live. Everything that you hear, every song that they're singing is a live rendition of it while they're filming. It's not pre-recorded live and then they show it and they're overdubbing or whatever, or they're just mimicking the words, lip syncing. They're singing live while they're dancing, while they are in a harness being pulled, doing stunts, all that stuff. And when I tell you that is incredibly difficult to do, you're not only singing these incredibly difficult songs. I mean, Cynthia and Ariana have to be like at the top of their game vocal wise to pull off any one of these numbers. But then the choreography, their their marks on the floor, they're still having to act because they're acting out conversations, they're singing conversations, they're singing jokes. I mean, all of that is incredibly difficult, and they pulled it off while while singing live. So all of that was already enough, and then on top of that, I was so emotionally invested in what was happening, more so than I ever expected. I knew nothing about Wicked. I'm not your biggest Wizard of Oz fan. I love the movie, just haven't seen it in forever. To be as emotionally invested in what was happening, just remarkable. That's the sign of great writing, a great director, just a remarkable picture to be able to pull that off. Yeah. Hey, General Kenobi's in the chat. He says, hello there. And then he says, I haven't seen half of your top five. Uh, yeah. Can you see it? Can you see it now? Civil War, Romulus, Long Legs, Wicked. Those are so, it's five going to two. And then number one, listen, no surprise to anyone. It is Deadpool and Wolverine. There is obviously, right, a nostalgia factor to all this. Um, it's Deadpool. It's Hugh Jackman coming back after a couple of decades. It's the movie that we never thought we'd get. All of that is a factor, right? The fact that we're even here is almost a miracle in itself because Jackman was like, I'm done with Wolverine, hanging up the claws, never going to wear the suit, the yellow spandex, never going to happen. That's part of it. But the other part, David was with me. I laughed nonstop. David and I were the only ones laughing nonstop. Other folks were laughing, which is good. David and I laughed nonstop,
Because it was funny, man.
beginning to end, nonstop. And of course, the other Deadpool movies have been funny, but they weren't like I'm hurting, my face hurts from laughing funny. They weren't that level of funny.
I disagree with that. I thought they were. I thought the laughs in the other films were great too.
um, and then on top of that, they could have just mailed it in. They could have just said, "Look, it's Deadpool and Wolverine. That's enough for you guys. We'll have a villain you probably don't know of that well because Marvel won't give us any of the good ones. So this is it." They didn't just settle for that. They bring back Elektra. They bring back Blade. They brought back X-23, which is great. And then they give Gambit a shot. I can't remember his name right now.
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. They give Channing Tatum the opportunity he thought was long gone. His dream was dead, and they gave it to him. And to see that guy mumble throughout that movie was so good. It was so good. It was fantastic. They didn't have to go. They didn't have to be that good. They could have just mailed it in. They didn't have to go that hard. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, hey, it was rated R. Like seriously, they went above and beyond to give us a dare I say perfect movie. I probably is perfect. It really is. I don't know what else I would change. I don't know what else. So yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine, my number one movie of 2024. And so I asked you to come up with some honorable mentions, Dave. Do you have anything that kind of barely didn't make your top five?
Um,
You
yeah,
want
there
me to go
were.
first?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna freak out over this, I think, which they shouldn't. But I really did like the Joker sequel. I know,
Wh-
I know everyone hated it, but when I saw it, I was like, okay, this all makes sense to me. But everyone hated it, and I didn't hate it like everyone did. Um, I actually thought that was good, but I mean, just the like 99% of people thought it was just horrible. It's it's essentially the Green Lantern of the DC universe now, and I was just like blown away by it. And people in my screening literally got up and were like, "What did I just watch?" I'm like, "You watched the Joker in prison, you know? That's what you watched." And we knew it was going to be a musical. And people were also questioning that. Why did they sing so much? What was up with all those musical numbers? It's like we knew it was going to be a musical. So a lot of musicals this year. It's kind of interesting. Um, but yeah, and of course, like I said, Dune 2, I liked it, but so many people gushed over it, and I think we're kind of overhyping it a bit. Dune 3 is going to be interesting though. Dune 3 is if they kind of replicate what's in the book and go with that storyline, it's not going to go the way I think people think it's going to go. It should be really interesting. And I kind of learned about the third book this year, and it really kind of turned me off to the Dune storyline because I really liked it beforehand, and of course all the ties to Star Wars and how George Lucas took a lot of bits and pieces from Dune and put it into Star Wars, but it's not Star Wars. It's definitely not Star Wars. Um, so yeah, Dune 2, Joker, Folie à Deux. Um, I think that's pretty much um
I have a few.
everything. I didn't see too many films this year.
You saw more than you think. If you go down our review list, you saw probably a good 15, 20 movies.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying like my honorable mentions isn't that long.
I got you.
I didn't see Civil War. I didn't see Long Legs. I didn't see Wicked. I didn't see Mufasa. I didn't see Beetlejuice. There's a lot of movies I didn't see. So yeah, I'm I've been trying to watch Long Legs, but the wife really wants to see it. She's really into horror way more than I am, but she just never wanted to pay for it, so she's waiting for it to go on a streaming service or whatever. We have like all the streaming services to watch it, and I know a little bit about it with Nick Cage and that whole thing. Um, and I know Civil War's out there. I think that's really polarizing. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all my honorable mentions, really.
Two quick tidbits right here. Kenobi, I finally understood what you were trying to say because I haven't seen half your top five, meaning you haven't seen half the movies that I were on my list. I get it now. The other thing is,
What did you
unless
think
you've
he
already,
meant?
I thought he said I couldn't see. I can't see your like half your top five.
Ah,
Like it
okay.
wasn't on the screen. The other thing is Kenobi is needing a few more watch hours on his YouTube channel. Unless he's already hit it, he might have already done it. But after you're done watching this show, please, please, please go watch Kenobi's Skeleton Crew, like episode 5 review. Help the man out, reach his 2024 goal of watch time on YouTube. And Israel Camacho, our buddies in the chat, saying just saw your Insta story, decided to come through. What is up, Israel? Let us know what your top movies of the year are, man. Love to hear that. Israel, who's been to a number of our screenings, always cool seeing him and the family there. My honorable mentions, and Ray has some too. Ray says Y2K, Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. All of his sort of honorable mentions or things that went under the radar. For me, I don't even know when it's coming out yet. Magpie, which I saw in March. I feel like it still doesn't have a distributor. Magpie, um, which has
Daisy
I'm so
Ridley.
Daisy Ridley. I was about to say, Dave, you beat me to it. Daisy Ridley's in Magpie. It's sort of a psychological thriller. Really enjoyed that. Immaculate. I don't know if people may have written it off because Sydney Sweeney is such a big name, but I really enjoyed my experience watching Immaculate, and that was a movie she had agreed to make or started developing like some ridiculous like 10 years before. So
I
she might
thought you were
have
going to
made
say I really enjoyed my experience watching Sydney Sweeney. And you got to meet
that
her this year too on the
too.
red carpet.
That too, which we'll talk about in our next segment. Um, but yeah, no, I had a great time watching that movie. I had a great conversation with the writer of Immaculate, and he's a fan. You meet people and you just understand they're a fan of the genre, and so you want to see folks like that get their opportunities. And boy, did he get an opportunity, and he killed it. Everything he did in that movie, I was just sitting there hoping. I was like, hey, they should do this next. Ooh, they did it. Ooh, they should do that next.
Twisters. Twisters, I'll say an honorable mention. I did like that film.
Twisters,
Yeah.
honorable mention. I agree. I agree. You mentioned Transformers One, Sonic 3, solid flick. Had a
I didn't get
blast
to
in
see
it.
Sonic 3. Yeah.
I saw that with Jose General Kenobi, who's in the chat. We had a great time with our kids there. Furiosa,
Oh yeah, we saw that together at the Austin IMAX at the
honorable
Bullock.
honorable mention. Furiosa, that one surprised me a little bit. Um, I didn't know if they could kind of pull off what they did in Fury Road, but they succeeded, man. It was a great time. We had a blast watching it. And then Ray already mentioned in the chat, but I'm gonna say it again. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which if you can't tell, you got Slimer, PKE, Ecto 1, Proton Pack. I'm a Ghostbuster fan. Another Ecto 1. Yeah, so I'm a big Ghostbusters fan. And um Frozen Empire was a step in the right direction. It was the final, not the final, it was the official Ghostbusters 3 that we should have gotten back in the 90s, right? Ghostbusters in the firehouse in New York City. I love Afterlife. Cried like a baby during that one. But Ghostbusters in NYC, back to their like full strength and whatever, that was the official Ghostbusters 3, in my opinion. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. They haven't reached their potential. There is something that they nobody's touched on yet, and I can't tell you what it is exactly. I'm not even sure I know what it is yet. But a Ghostbusters movie that reaches its potential might involve like a massive like battle or something with like dozens and dozens of ghosts or something. Like, and they've not met their potential yet. And I'm waiting for them to do something where we could be like, okay, yeah, that's it right there. All right. I know we're running a little long on this, but I'll ask you, give me one or two of your worst movies of the year. And while you're thinking, Israel says, "Ooh, I got to think on that." Terrifier 3, Fast X, Twisters, Smile 3, Deadpool, Wolverine, all solid. You know what? I left Smile off my list, but I don't think it would have gotten in my top 5. Top 10 probably. Smile 3 is probably Smile 2 probably in my top 5 for sure. Sorry, top 10. And he says honorable mention Transformers the newest one. Not one. What do you mean? The the newest one was with the animals, the beast.
Oh yeah, Beast Wars.
Was that 2024?
That's so wild. Yeah,
It
I
This has
like
been
that
a
movie.
long year. It's been a long
Yeah,
year.
I think that'd be another honorable mention. Yeah, Smile 2, not Smile 3. Yeah.
Yeah, the Transformers. I don't even remember what it was called, but that was one where like yeah, they did a lot of really cool stuff in it, and it also felt like they are missing something. Um, like they didn't meet their potential, but they really, man, that fell under the radar, right? They even had the GI Joe crossover at the end, and it's like everybody should be celebrating right now.
Yeah.
Did it happen? No, did not.
Right.
Transformers One, dude, you would love it. You would love it. The family would love it when you get a chance, man. I don't know if it's got to be on streaming right now. I would assume, or fairly soon. You
Rise of
got
the
to
Beast.
check it
Was
out.
it called that?
What's that?
The Transformers movie.
Rise of the Beast. Yeah.
Okay. I think I just called it Beast Wars after the
Rise of the
animated.
Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there
What are your
really
worst ones?
was. I don't think I really have a list for like horrible films. I always find something positive, and
So you're, I
usually like the
mean,
negative, I usually just kind of delete from my brain anyways. So
lowest rated films. They're not bad, but they're the lowest rated ones.
yeah, I think the Joker Folie à was the lowest rated. I mean, people just did not like that whatsoever. They wanted a direct sequel
No, but
of
you
the
liked
first
that.
one. Huh?
But you liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
No, but
But
so what's like one of your lowest rated ones?
I don't know, Ted. I mean, there's that film that James McAvoy did, but I still kind of liked it though. There wasn't a film that I saw this year where I was just like, I really don't like it. I
I
mean,
have
we saw
three.
Gladiator 2. You have three. Wow.
I have three movies where I'm just like, man, I probably wouldn't recommend this. Um, I'll go in order from like not good to worst. Argyle.
I heard that was really bad. I didn't see it though.
We went into Argyle, and I had kind of high hopes. Matthew Vaughn film, right?
Yep. Henry
Yeah,
Cavill.
and it really leaned into sort of absurd, like comical, not humor.
And that's what the
Leaned,
Kingsman does for me. It's just absurdness. And it's like,
but
how do people like these films?
it went too far though.
Yeah.
Kingsman, they sort of like rode that fine line of like, let's not jump the shark here. Argyle was doing stuff they had no business doing. I think there was a scene where they're like ice skating or roller skating while they're like fighting and shooting people. And then, mind you, there's no stakes in this movie. At least there were
Right.
stakes in Kingsman.
Yeah.
Argyle, nobody gets grazed, nobody gets shot. There's no bumps, no bruises. It was a freaking video game, which is also kind of my complaint with this next one, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Mm.
Man, two Cavill films. I'm really sorry, Henry. Henry was in this one, and again, it was like, in Rambo where he like kills 1,000 people and doesn't get a scratch. Well, there's like five Rambos in this one. Everybody's just shooting. They're hitting their targets. Nobody misses, and nobody gets injured in any shape, way, or form. So, one of my second lowest rated is the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. My least favorite movie that I saw in 2024. I'm not saying it's the worst movie of the year. I'm saying it's the worst movie that I saw out of like the 20 I saw, 2024. Venom 3. My
Mm.
God. They
I
really
didn't see
just
that
made
either.
they really just made this movie because they had to. Like,
Yeah.
there's no soul in it whatsoever. They want you to feel things. They they try. It's almost sad. And I love Tom Hardy. I love Hardy's films. None of it made. There's a lot of things that didn't make any sense. There's plot holes didn't make any sense, and because you're not gonna watch it, the way they ended it, they really wanted you to like be sad about how it ended. I felt nothing. I was like, no, you did not earn that. You need to earn these moments, and you did not earn it in the least. And I thought it was going to be better than Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, because I thought that was garbage too.
Yeah.
I think this one was slightly worse, like just a hair worse than Let There Be Carnage. Yeah, and again, I love Tom Hardy's movies. Lawless, anything he's been in, love it. Dark Knight Rises, love it. Inception, love it. So I don't get it. They needed solid leadership over there for these movies. They did not get it.
Yeah.
Is
So there's a particular film that came out this year that you didn't list in your best or worst,
what's that?
and I'm pretty sure you saw it, Madam Web.
Oh my god, I forgot I saw that.
Was it like as horrible as people were saying? Did you like it?
Okay, no, I apologize. Venom 3, Madam Web is the worst movie that I saw.
That's what everyone kind of said, so I kind of just didn't see it.
Listen, this is the best way I'll explain it. You know when movies are convoluted, the plot's all messy.
Yeah.
This is not one of those. This is the only movie that like it had no plot,
Hmm.
no plot whatsoever. They tried to have a plot, just wasn't there. Didn't make any sense. And this is not a knock on any of the actresses in the movie. This is a knock on whoever wrote this movie. Hot garbage. Worst written movie for sure. one of the worst written comic book movies of all time. And I'm a nice guy. I give people props and stuff whenever they make movies. I don't like bashing movies because a lot of people work on them, but this one, nothing made sense.
Mm.
Um, I don't even want to get into it just because it would take forever to list everything. Just yeah, it made very little sense, and there's no plot, and you don't care what's going on. It was a CW show. It's what it felt like, a CW show with no plot, made in the mid '90s
And
or
I heard one
something.
of the worst villains of all time too.
I don't even remember his name. I don't remember the villain's name. It was a weird amalgamation of like a Venom Spider-Man character. And yeah, it was clearly made by somebody who it was clearly greenlit by somebody who'd never seen a comic. They probably just saw a list of Spider-Man characters, and they're like, "All right, let's make a movie on Craven, Morbius, and Madam Web. How are we gonna do that? I don't know. Just make them." That's what
So I don't
happened.
know the name of the person, but from what I've heard, is the person that kind of was responsible for this film has been responsible for a lot of bad films recently. And they're like wondering, this is this guy like someone's like nephew or something, or how does he keep on getting these responsibilities? I think he was a part of Morbius. I think he was a part of Venom. I think, I mean, just a lot of stuff that didn't really hit.
This week in the news, one of the heads of Sony like stepped down, and I'm wondering if they're involved
Well,
in a
Sony
lot
did
of these
end
decisions.
their line of Spider-Man villain films, apparently, right?
Well, they put it on hold. They can't end it. If they end it, they give up the rights. So what they said was, we are ending the Spider-Man spin-offs. They said our focus is going to be um the Miles Morales movies, Spider Verse movies, and the Tom Holland movies. So they're gonna keep
Yeah,
making movies. They're gonna stop this like, we'll make these villain characters cool kind of nonsense.
yeah. That whole situation is weird too because now it seems like they pushed back the third Spider Verse film to like 2027 or something, and that whole situation over there is weird with um, the main actor that plays Miles, and he's saying a
Um,
lot of weird stuff on social media now.
Shamik is so talented. I agree. He's probably socially awkward, and he can't show it online because people are gonna eat him up for it. So yeah, it's a really odd situation. Shamik, just stay out of the limelight for a little bit, bro. Just stay out of the limelight for a little bit, and it'll all pass. Israel says, "Are we talking about horrible films? Joker 2. I didn't watch it and heard it was trash. You're not alone.
The
I
whole
haven't
world.
same Joker 2, and
You haven't seen it? Wow,
it's mainly
that's
because
surprising for how big of a Batman fan you are.
I
Time.
I have a short window of when I can watch something, and if I miss it, then the
Hmm.
rest of my week or month is booked, and I'm like, I'll get to it when I can. It's on Max now, so
Yeah,
I'll probably watch it this week. Israel says, I'm waiting for Final Destination Bloodlines, and Now You See Me 3. Yeah, Bloodlines, I'm excited because it should be good. I feel like enough time has passed where you can give us something new and inventive, much like Top Gun Maverick. People are like, why are they bringing this back? And I told them, because it's been 30 some odd years. Like, now you can actually do something new that we've not seen in a while. And did they pull it off? Yes, they did. So I'm gonna make sure
they
I
basically made
remind.
Star Wars.
They basically did. Yes. He says I need to watch Argyle. No, you don't, bro. Skip it. Israel says Madam Web was outstanding. It is amazing. Are we talking about the same Madam Web? Wasn't Madam Web the kicker to Sydney Sweeney? Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know what else I can say about Madam Web. General Kenobi's interesting. Just take the L and make Spidey films with Spidey, dude. Yeah, they're figuring it out. Focus on Spider-Man films with Tom, Miles Morales, and just make Ghostbuster projects, and they have other video game, right? Why aren't you making PlayStation stuff? Why aren't you making PlayStation video games? That's what you
Because,
should be
like you said,
doing.
they got to fulfill the contracts, and they have to make at least that. That's why the Amazing Spider-Man films were dropped with Andrew Garfield, because they had to do more Spider-Man films, and now time is up to do more. So that's why they made the Craven film, which could be on one of the worst films. Allegedly, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen. I've actually avoided all the films they said were horrible, so I just didn't waste my time.
I've not seen Craven either. I want to. I like Aaron Taylor. I
Oh
know
yeah,
it's not going to be great.
he's really good, but
Yeah.
the film, yeah.
Here's what they should do next. Sony, you listening? Here's the thing that you haven't thought about, and here's what you should do. Lego Spider-Man. Huh? Huh? Who wouldn't watch a Lego Spider-Man movie?
It's a good
They did the
idea.
Lego movie, they did the Lego Batman movie. It's now time, Sony, go make a Lego Spider-Man movie. You can have all of the villains you want. Nobody's going to stop you. And yeah, there you go. You're welcome. I'll take 10% of the box office profits. Israel says, I think they're going to try to get Miles Morales in Spider Man with Tom during Secret Wars. They better, they need to, and they need to get our friend of the show, Dallas Young from Cobra Kai. He's at the right age. He's got the look. He's got the martial arts under his belt, his black belt. So they need to have a live action Miles, and they should look at Dallas Young, um, from Cobra Kai, who is a friend of the show, and he would be killer at it. Oh, Craven, I forgot that was in theaters. I can't go to any early screenings. I work during the week. Boo! We sometimes have weekend ones. So be sure to check out our stuff when we have weekend screenings, my man. Try and get you into one of those, Israel. All right. Honorable mentions and yeah, worst movies of 2024. That was fun. That was fun. All right. Now for our final topic of the evening, and it's a favorite one of mine. This is gonna be great. We're gonna be talking about our favorite moments of 2024, and I'm typing all of this right now. Favorite moments of 2024 from the Countdown City Geeks. This is our entire team, and this might take all night, but I don't even care.
I don't
Um,
care about what time David has to wake up tomorrow.
or myself. You know what, I mean, I was going back, and this is a great part, is I'm going to put together like a super reel of like a lot of the really cool stuff that our team did this year, because literally every month it feels like we had something like really big happening, or every other month we had something really big happening. And it wasn't just me, it wasn't just Dave, like everybody was involved. You were doing amazing things. Jose, Ray, Sabrina, who we brought on just a few months ago, Tommy, who's been doing panels all over the state. Um, yeah, it's just everybody's been killing it. Shout out to Mike and JC. They were doing live streams from wrestling events for the first time. So yeah, everybody was doing something incredible this year. Everybody was working hard, and it was by far my favorite year that I've ever had with this media group and this media team. Just so special this entire year it's been. Cool. I'll start off because January 2024 was a thing that happened that I didn't know was possible, but I got to hang out for a night with the legendary Bill Murray, and it came out of nowhere. It was a surprise, but he threw a party up in Austin, and I did number of videos from it, and thank everybody for watching and sharing those videos. But I'll include some stuff in the reel that's going to drop tomorrow. So one of my favorite moments of 2024 happened in January, beginning of the year. Got to hang out with the legendary Bill Murray, and it wasn't Bill Murray on a set. It wasn't Bill Murray in front of a media crew, like answering interview questions from a reporter. It was Bill as himself, just having fun, and that was a sight to behold. So that's my first one. Dave, what's one of your favorite moments of the year?
I'll start from um, least to best. Um, the Superman trailer that dropped. We were anticipating that. We did a whole podcast on it. It was fantastic. A great introduction to the new DCU Superman. We got to see all the characters they told us that were going to appear in the film, from Hawk Girl to Mr. Terrific, to Lois Lane, Rachel Brosnahan, um, and Crypto. I think Crypto stole the show there, and everyone I think kind of fell in love with um, Superman's dog. And it's the first live action interpretation of Crypto, and I think it was a wise move on James Gunn's part. And like you said at the beginning of the show, it's the fourth most watched trailer of all time, and the most watched WB trailer I think of all time.
Yeah,
So
you're
it
right
looks
about
pretty
that.
promising. Hopefully, we get a Super Bowl commercial, and it's pretty much a brand new trailer, and we get a little bit more of the plot and what's going on outside the window there of that one scene with all that plasma being spewed into the air there. But yeah, that was great. I know what happened towards the end of the year, but I think that's my fifth most exciting thing that happened this year.
I didn't. I'm not even going in order here, but
You started with
I
January, but February. What'd you get in February?
well now I'm gonna jump around just because
Okay.
it's gonna be hard to kind of go and keep this down below 2 hours or so on this stream. Interviewing Mila Jovovich. We It was myself and Ray. We're at a dazed. Ray, it was Ray. You were Ray.
It wasn't me.
It was Ray.
I had to
Me.
work. Yeah.
I forget sometimes. I'm old. Um, Ray and I were at a press event for the 30th anniversary of Dates Confused. I'll try and make this quick. And we had gotten wind that Mila Jovovich was going to be there, and I've been a massive Mila fan since like high school, like Resident Evil, Multipass, Fifth Element. I've been just a massive fan of hers, and
Return
so
to the Blue Lagoon.
out of like all the big folks I've ever talked to and interviewed, I really did like have to really compose myself throughout that conversation, and I'm not lying to you or exaggerating when I say she was one of the coolest celebrities I've ever spoken to, talked with. We had a beer together like after our interview. That blew my geek mind completely. I died a little bit that day, and she brought me back to life. And we talked. We talked about her films. We talked about stuff, and it's just like you shouldn't be this cool. You are a goddess, and I am a nothing. I am a speck on this planet, and yet she
Well,
was
as you'll
just
find out
so
when I start
amazing.
listening to my other crazy things that happen, you'll soon learn that a lot of these encounters that Ted has or had, there's a running theme.
There sure is. There sure is. What's your next one, man?
My next one is I'll just frame it with I got to go to Hawaii for the first time in my life. I got to take my family out there, and luckily we planned we did a thing where we swam with manta rays, or manta ray viewing, more so in the ocean. But we had a island hop, and when we did that, we settled into a different hotel I turn on the TV at 3 p.m. and boom, the Oscars start at 3 p.m. in Hawaii. So, of course, Oppenheimer was a big film that was nominated, and of course, we all figured they were going to win all the major awards, which they did. Robert Downey Jr. finally won an Academy Award for a performance that was kind of long overdue, and of course, he won it for playing Lewis Strauss in Oppenheimer. I got to see that live. Got to see Cillian Murphy win Best Actor, get his Oscar, and of course see Christopher Nolan win Best Director, and then see Oppenheimer win Best Film, and see Emma Thomas and Christopher Nolan get their Academy Awards, and it was awesome, man. I got to see the whole show in Hawaii, and it was a strange thing because it was bright outside, and I was watching the Oscars. So I thought that was a pretty big moment, and I'm a pretty big Oscar viewer, and I thought it was a great show.
I thought you were gonna start naming some of the like the personal stuff that you had your moments of the year.
Well, that was personal. I was in Hawaii,
There you go. There you
and
go.
I got to watch the Oscars in Hawaii.
Let's see. Israel says, "Oh, Craven, I forgot that was in theaters. It can't go." Oh, you already said that one. Add Bad Boys Ride or Die. So top 7 movies for me. A blast. Had so much fun in Bad Boys 4. I think it was 4. Yeah, it's 4. Ray says, "Dang, yeah." And Israel says, "Resident Evil Mila." Yes, that Mila interview is on YouTube. Check it out, man, when you get a chance. Ray says, "I got to help Darkseid Pizza put together the Rad Day, and I actually talked to Michael about that event again yesterday, and he was still raving about it. They just had such a great time. So yeah. All right, next one for me. Oh gosh, I mean I'll go ahead and get to. Oh my god, trying to get the picture. I was lucky enough to do a number of really crazy freaking panels this year, and I'm not kidding when I tell you that I had some like the best time talking to Josh Brolin. And full disclosure, this is me being honest with you folks out there. I wasn't how do I say this? If I had a choice, Josh was probably like maybe third, fourth on my choice from that event. Because I mean, we had so many great people there, and I didn't know how I was gonna go. And I think when I started doing my research on Josh, I really started understanding like how down to earth he is. And so then I started kind of coming to terms in my head like, oh, we're going to have a good conversation. We're going to have a good time because he's just an easygoing dude. I'm an easygoing guy. It's just going to be a couple of dudes talking on a stage. And boy, that's what it was. It was just shooting the shit with Thanos. And we had a blast. He's cool as F. Um, yeah, I hope we get to have another chat soon, or just him come back to Texas and say what's up because I kid you not, he was just a gem. Um, again, you kind of hear people say like, "Hey, never meet your heroes," or like, "Oh, this celebrity was this or that celebrity was that." And I'm like, man, I've met dozens of celebrities and I'm not having these horrible experiences with any of them. And if you ever get a chance to meet Josh Brolin, who's doing a book tour, like his book just dropped, Under the Truck. I've been promoting it on our social media. If you ever get to see Josh in your town, go to one of his book selling book tour events and meet the man because he is the real deal. And everybody should get a chance to check him out. But look at that crowd. I mean, seriously, we had a blast. I had a blast entertaining my hometown, and Josh is a man. What can I say? All right, Dave, what else you got, man?
The next thing on my list is Rebel ScumCon.
Yeah.
Um, I got to attend that in North Dallas. First time for my Star Wars Stuff podcast. We had a booth there. It was really cool. First ever Rebel Scum Con. Lots of celebrities. Tate Fletcher, Ahmed Best, Misty Rosas was there. Um, a lot of people that you typically don't see at the bigger cons, and it was really cool to meet some and just see those people out there. And they did a really cool thing with the autographs. You got like almost like a baseball trading card, and that was like your ticket for your autograph photo op. And it was really cool meeting Ahmed Best. I got his signature. I talked to him for a brief few moments, but the thing I think that I came away with was meeting all the influencers that were there that I had never met before in my life, and I'd seen them, and it was interesting because it was almost like they were talking to me like they knew me, and we just kind of got along, and we went to dinner a couple times, and it was really cool. Um, and we got to talk about podcasting, talk about the whole social media game, and get to know some of these people a lot closer. And like we always do at other cons, we give away stuff. And I got to see my brother too. He lives in North Dallas, so it all worked out, and had a lot of fun. And the showrunner said, "Hey, um, just so you know, since you were part of the first Rebel Scum Con, you have a standing invitation to come back and have a booth in the future." So the next Rebel Scum Con is going to happen the weekend of my birthday in August. So I'm probably going to be celebrating my birthday there at Rebel Scum Con in August.
Hell yeah, man. You got to, right? Can't miss that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to go.
All right, I'm gonna steal one for the both of us. And Israel's in the chat saying last year's superhero Comic Con, I met Brie Larson, who's a doll, super sweet. She actually gave a golf cart ride to one of our team members, Joe, to his vehicle because it was super hot outside, and she was like, "Hop in, I'll drive you to your car."
That's
Real,
incredible, man.
it really happened. True story. Um, Ray, I see your comment. I'm gonna bring that up later, man, for sure. So I'm gonna steal one now for the two of us and everybody else on the team because we got to take a photo and we got to hang out with Andy Serkis, who I guess I can say that I'm a little bit of a pro, I guess now at doing panels. And when I heard I was gonna moderate Andy's panel, I kind of got excited because I'm like, you kind of understand when stars are like really humble and they understand like the convention game, and they know that this is like a show. This is a showcase. You're here to entertain and give something back to the fans who are coming to see you. Andy got that from the get go. I know this because Andy has hung out with Hall H campers in the middle of the night on the day before a panel of his in San Diego at Comic Con. So I know this man. I've met him before, camping out at a Hall H line for San Diego Comic Con. So, anyways, we had the best panel. He was so like giving in his responses. He's so enthusiastic the entire time, despite the fact that he had just gotten off a flight from what was it, London? He just got from like a super
I heard
long.
people say like a 16-hour flight, and I was like, wow, that must have been like from New Zealand or some spot like that, somewhere in Asia, something like that, you know?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, super far away, and he was. he could have been super jet lagged and not giving his best, but no, he didn't care about that. He gave it his all regardless and was super amazing the entire time. And despite the fact that he was, short on time and everything else, he still went out of his way to take an entire group photo with our
Yeah, Andy
team.
Serkis is one of my favorites.
I'm back. Yeah, he still went out of his way to take an entire group photo with our team, which I can't tell you how much that means to me because I know everybody in this team in this photo seriously worked their tail off for 4 days. That was a long convention. 4 days plus a fifth day to like set up. So that was a long convention. And we just had the best time. And dare I say, we had the best con moment. We might have gotten outdone by RDJ at San Diego, but Andy talking like Gollum, telling San Antonio he loves them, calling them his precious. It's all on video. You can go check it out. Seriously, one of the highlights of my professional moderating career because I knew how much it would hit and he was more than game to do it and never heard a crowd get that loud before at one of our events. Seriously.
Well,
Magic. Woof. Woof. Good times.
yeah, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. The first time I learned about Andy Serkis was via Gollum. If you watch the appendices for the Fellowship of the Ring when they talk about it's Andy Serkis talking about his casting, you can really kind of tell that Andy Serkis really wanted to be in the spot that he is exactly right now. He really wanted to be in fandom. He wanted to be famous. He wanted to be who he is now, Andy Serkis. And I mean, he's part of so many different IPs. You listed them off of the panel. It was fantastic. I think you got all of them. You listed all of them from Batman to Marvel to the Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. I mean, he's been in everything. The only thing he hasn't done is like Fast and the Furious. I mean that and Harry Potter. Um, and he might do Harry Potter on Max in the coming future. But um, you could just tell that his intention was to get famous and to be in all these IP. And he's the perfect person to be that because he's so kind, he's generous with his time, he understands the fans, he knows how it all kind of works and what is expected of him. He walked through the aisles on the show floor and he walked through the crowd and you could start hearing like the smattering of applause that grew and really got big and I'm like, yes, he's here. And yeah, he's just that guy, man. And I was lucky enough to meet him in London in 2023 at Star Wars Celebration, and I got to talk to him then. Super cool, super nice. Just one of the best celebrities out there. If you ever on the fence about getting his autograph or doing a photo op, don't be, do it, meet him. You won't be disappointed.
Dan Guerrero.
Honorable mention.
Dan Guerrero. Cannot not tell you what it's like to try and stare at an angel and ask the questions.
You're like Anakin Skywalker. Are you an angel?
Yeah, no, let's talk about just super sweet individuals and stuff. That was that was challenging. But we had again, you just some of these people they understand the game. They understand what a convention's about. And she got it and she gave the people what they wanted. We talked about every role, every big role she's had. She even sang a little bit. My heart was fluttering when that happened. Yeah, super amazing. Highlight. Man, Jesus. Israel's in the chat saying, I let Brie hold my replica Dominic Toretto necklace. She was shocked to see it and held it just like she did in Fast X. Dude, that's freaking amazing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of great stories of Brie Larson interacting with fans, and I think she's another one too. If you can meet her, meet her. I mean, not only is she in a lot of stuff we love, I mean, she's fantastic.
All right, man. What else you got? What's next on your list?
So yeah, to piggyback on what you just showed at uh, at Superhero Comic Con that happened in July. Did it happen
June.
then? When did it
June.
happen?
June.
June. Okay, June. Um, SpaceCon happened in October, the end of October, right, the weekend before Halloween, and we had a super massive booth, different from all the other previous superhero cons. First ever Space Con in San Antonio, Texas. Of course, it drew in a lot of big time celebrities from Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar, Stargate. It was fantastic, man. The vibe was cool. A lot of people that listened to us came up to us, talked to us. I had a prize wheel for the first time. We, um, but basically all of our lightsabers, all you had to do was pay $5 and hit the spot on the wheel and get those lightsabers. So a lot of people left happy from the booth. Um, just to see you doing the panels like you always do. You talk to Hayden, you talk to Rosario. We saw Ewan McGregor up there. Kenobi talked to Matthew Wood. Um,
Kenobi.
yeah, I mean, it was incredible, man. William Shatner did his like one man show panel. Got to listen to a little bit of that. Um, Katie Sackhoff showed up again. Every time I see Katie, I say, "Hey, come back to San Antonio anytime you can." And she always says, "Yeah, for sure, if you'll have me." And I'm like, "Yeah, we'll have you." Um, so yeah, everyone that showed, Ahmed Best showed up. You got to talk to him. We met him behind the scenes. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Amon Esfandi, very down to earth, very cool people. Um, there's so much going on that I mean that was like the big highlight for me. Um, Next to what we did in July, but I mean that was in our backyard, major celebrities, big time panels. I think we made San Antonio proud, and it was a big hit. And I believe there's going to be another Space Con in the future, hopefully. Um, but yeah, it was terrific, big turnout, just fun all the way around. Different setup, and a lot of people came away from that con very happy, meeting Hayden, Ewan, Rosario, all the big time celebrities that showed up, and it was a lot of fun. It's one of those like pinch me type of things that like you ask yourself, did that really happen in San Antonio with all these major Star Wars? It was so essentially it was like Star Wars Celebration in the States because the next one's going to be in Japan next year in 2025. So technically 2 days away from now, but it was like Star Wars Celebration, and it's maybe as close as we'll ever come to a celebration that close to us. So yeah, hopefully they have one in Texas in the future, but you just never know. But yeah, it was just so great. And of course, Colin from Star Stuff Podcast drove along with Zach Netzel, another host from the podcast. They drove down. He brought his screen accurate Chewbacca that he wore, that he would walk around the con. Could not walk 3 feet without getting asked for a picture, and it was a great experience, man. And we met. We actually had Legion sabers at the booth as well, and we got kind of close to them. We also met a friend of Legion sabers, Haley. We became friends with her, and she's a big time Star Wars fan. And it was just awesome all the way around. It's just one of those, like I said, it's a pinch me type scenario to be a Star Wars fan with the podcast, to be at a convention with that caliber of Star Wars celebrity. For us, it was just incredible. You can't get bigger than that, really. I mean, it was incredible, man. It's amazing. It's like it's a dream.
We have a lot of those this year.
Yeah.
Ray and I were in Austin, and I got to talk to the legendary Nick Cage. And this was a pinch me moment, man. Never in my life did I think I'd be interviewing the man, the myth, the legend himself, Nicholas Cage. He had a great film, Arcadian. If you're a horror fan, I strongly recommend you check out Arcadian. You could probably rent it, or it might be on a streaming service by now, but yeah, not sure quite yet. So yeah, talk to the legend, and it was great. I wish it could have lasted forever, but those type of events are super quick, and you blink and they're gone. And but it was still just memorable moment. And I'm gonna steal another one from Dave because he's in it. Anthony Russo, one half of the legendary Russo brother duo who've directed some of the greatest movies of all time, especially in the comic book genre. Super cool guy, just absolutely amazing to talk to. And again, we keep meeting these people. None of them are like jerks or anything. They're all super cool people. Anthony Russo is one of those guys. The coolest part about meeting Anthony was it was right after the Marvel panel at Hall H, San Diego, this past July. And I think the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "So, what did you think? What did you think about the panel?" And I know I was taken back. I think Dave was the same. It's just like, you care about our opinions? He really did. He really did. And we had a great time talking to him and just absolute blast. So yeah, shout out to Anthony Russo. Uh I think the last thing he said to us was, "See you guys again in the future," or something like that. And I'm like, "Yeah, you will, sir. You will."
Yeah, man. There's so many stories. So yeah, my number one moment of the year, of course, I mean, obviously. I'm like, dude, this is going on my tombstone. I got to go to San Diego Comic Con. And not only did I get to go to San Diego Comic Con, I got to go as media along with Ted for Countdown City Geeks. And I got to be in the media pit, which means that I was directly connected to the Hall H stage. I could have literally rested my arm on the Hall H stage, and I could see behind the curtain when every celebrity walked up. So I knew before the crowd what was about to happen, sort of, and who was about to walk the stage. And it was incredible, man. I can't believe, I still can't believe that I was able to get back there and just be a part of all the international media that was there. And initially, we thought that that wasn't going to be the case because I've gotten media passes before for Star Wars Stuff podcast for Star Wars Celebration, and it's essentially just been a ticket to get in, even though it says media. Never had access like that before, but for some
But we were
reason,
invited. We were invited.
right. But I mean, it was a media pass, and we were told by actually the founder of Collider that it wasn't really going to get us much, but it got us a lot. It got us basically all the way to the Hall H stage, which is like saying I went to the Super Bowl and I got to be down there on the field when they lifted the Lombardi Trophy. That's essentially what it is, and I got to see all the panels, all the major panels on Friday and Saturday. We were there 16 hours. Um, Ted was worried about me because I wasn't eating, and I was like, Ted, it's okay. I don't have to eat.
I'm like a camel. I can go for days.
Yeah, I'm a food camel. I don't have to eat. I'm on Hall H right now. Let's
Yeah.
just not miss anything. And we didn't miss anything those 2 days. We got to see the whole cast of The Rings of Power. We got to see Keanu Reeves hit the stage for Berserker. They announced the Netflix show that they're gonna have. He got I got to see him get the most prestigious award at Comic Con, the Inkpot Award. And then when he was walking off, I got to fist bump him, which was crazy. So yeah, I've touched Keanu. Um, Also, the Penguin panel. Colin Farrell wasn't there, but everyone else associated to the Penguin was there. Um, the whole cast of the boys, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, got a fist bump from him. Basically, high five the entire cast, which was insane. Um, and then, of course, the big one, the Marvel panel at Hall H. Got to see Harrison Ford close up. Everyone else either high five me, fist bump me. Um, was trying. It was interacting with. If you watch the panel, you saw Anthony Mackie look to his side. He was talking to the press where I was, and getting like reassurance and confirmation from them. And that was really cool because it felt like he was really talking to us. Those people were so close to us. Um, Florence Pugh gave a really nice speech for the Thunderbolts panel, and right as everyone got quiet and they're about to show the new footage, I shouted out to her, "That's the way you do it, Florence." And she turned to me and said, "Thank you, darling." And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm in love." Um, so yeah, that was really cool. Um, and of course, the just ridiculous, shocking moment of Robert Downey Jr. being announced as Doctor Doom. Um, I was like, it would be great if I could give him a high five. He's probably not, but he saw me. I put my hand out. He slapped skin with me, and I was like, okay, that made this trip 1000% worth it. And then not only that, the Russo brothers gave me five. And then the cherry on top, Kevin Feige slapped me five. He had a great panel. He basically is the guy up there, the president of Marvel Studios. And that was my goal, just to see him on the stage at Hall H. I just wanted to see it. I would have been fine. Anything else happened after that. I got to see him multiple times up there. And it was incredible, man. I cannot believe any of that happened. And I got video of all of it. So I can prove to people that I was there if they don't believe me. I got it all on video. I asked other media members, hey, send me that video because they have video of me high-fiving people. And it was just the best, man. It was incredible.
Israel's in the chat saying, "I want an immediate pass." I
Yeah,
get it, man.
everyone I tell this story, all these stories to, they're like, "Can I get a media pass?"
I get it, man. I get it. I don't know what else to say, but like for me, it's been 9 years in the making. And I knew I wanted to go. I've been to San Diego before. It's not my first time, but I've never gone as a guest, as a media, as member of the press. So this is my first time. And not only that, but we got invited to Hall H, and we got invited to sit down with, we from these studios, and that's from just like how much work we've put into it. And so yeah, I it's been a trip, man. It kind of just everything sort of aligned for us in July, and was really something pretty special. And just, I mean, we had a ball. San Diego 2024 was arguably the best they event they've ever had, and I've been to five now. That was my fifth one, and yeah, had a blast. I'm
That's
gonna I'm gonna pick a thing that I don't know if Dave should remember, but I don't know if he does or not. Let me get it set up here. Dave and I went to
oh yeah, yeah.
Austin for a Furiosa event at the Circuit of the Americas. It was a GT event, a race, and we got pretty much like first class access. We were in a VIP area with a DJ. There was food, there was drinks. We got to get all up close with all these cars. We got to watch a race. We got Dave got to hang out with what are they, the War Boys, hang out with them, and we had to promote the movie, and it was fantastic. And I'm gonna wait for the final shot here because it sounds amazing. I hope it comes through in the audio. Not to mention, ooh, I don't think it's gonna come through. Oh, unfortunately. You hear that?
No. Yeah, it is extremely loud as they pass by.
Yeah. So we had a great time promoting Furiosa, being a part of that event, And yeah, man, it was just my first experience at a race of that type, that, and I didn't know what to
Yeah.
expect. We had a blast. Craziest part was it had this observation deck. It's for the racers, and it's for their scouts, I guess, whatever they're called. They're all
Right.
atop this 200-foot tower watching the race, and the observation deck floor is
It's glass.
see-through. And when I tell you, I could not, it took me 15 minutes to muster up the bravery and the courage to
The
walk
intestinal
across
fortitude.
to walk across that see-through floor 200 feet above the air. I mean, these cars are driving like they're micro machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild, man. But we got some great shots up there, and they were a part of that video that you can
Yeah.
check out on our Instagram page. But yeah, we like I said, we did some crazy stuff this year, and that was definitely one of them. I think we're running out of things to mention, but not
Now
really
there's a
sure.
lot more stuff to talk about, especially during Comic Con, all the experiences we had. We went to a certain place where I think it was just I don't think I planned any of it to happen, but it happened and I just wanted to experience this place. We walk in there and like all these celebrities are in there and they're walking in and out and I'm trying to grab selfies with everyone and yeah, at the bar the Deep was sitting there from the boys and then Anthony Starr walks in and Ted's hyped up for that. And then of course that's the same place we took the picture with Anthony Russo on Saturday. Kevin Feige was there. A lot of influencers were there. A lot of media people. Bobby Lee, the comedian, was also there. He was hanging out eating sushi, and
Babele.
yeah, I mean, I'm at that point. I was 42 years old, and I'd never tried sushi before, and I got to try sushi there. So
You're
it
welcome,
was
sir.
it was all right.
You're welcome.
It was okay. Um, and yeah, it was fantastic. We got to hang out at the bar, and it was so funny because it was like we were the only like fans there or people that look like fans. I had like a poster tube and we had backpacks on, and it was all like industry people and celebrities in there, and they didn't kick us out. We didn't act a fool, so they let us stay in there, and it was really cool. It was really nice, and I think that's going to be our tradition going forward. Um, so, yeah, so much fun, so many cool people that we got to talk to. The bartender was really cool. All the people that sat around us, very cool. Um, and yeah, I just running into people. I mean, there was a lot of stuff we didn't get to do. In hindsight, there was a lot of people that I would have loved to have met from the Lord of the Rings that were there, promoting Rings of Power, just like right next door. But we didn't get to go to that party. I think Richard Taylor from Weta was there, the main like effects guy from the Lord of the Rings, who got a few Oscars. Um, but yeah, that aside, I mean, it was one for the books, man. I think about it sometimes, and I'm like, was I really there? It's such another thing to actually be there, and instead of waiting patiently on YouTube for people to release the panels on their own channels to watch it, but I was actually there and I saw it with my own eyes and was like, wow, these people really do exist. It's not just I'm not in the Matrix. These are real people doing the thing, and just to see it in front of my eyes, it was just super super ridiculous. So yeah, thank you so much, Ted, for allowing me to be there and go with you. I know you told us at the beginning of the year, he's like, hey, I'm gonna get to go to San Diego Comic Con, and I'm like, yeah, cool, but I'm not going, so that's cool. And then at the last second, I was like, I got to go do this. This is too big of an opportunity. Cool stuff might happen.
I think
So,
I
and it
think what you
did.
said was, "Why am I even contemplating this?" You're like, "I can't believe I'm actually debating not going," and I'm like, "All right, let's go." And
Well, I mean, it's a lot of money,
You're,
and it's not something I factored into my 2024 plans. And
and I think I told you like, hey, I don't know how this one's gonna go, so it might be good, it might be bad. We'll see how it goes, and then it ended up being one for
yeah,
the record books.
yeah,
Israel says, I've never left Texas, but I love to be in y'all's position one day. Dude, you absolutely will, man. You absolutely will. I will speak it into existence. Um, do whatever you
looks like
want,
he has a
man.
profile picture with Fluffy.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I've gone a couple of his shows.
I got one that's really special to me, and all of these are special, but this one's really, really special to me. We've helped out promote screenings before, and we've given out tickets to people all over the country for screenings that are always held by the studios themselves. Well, in 2024, we actually held our own screening. It was for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. There was no advanced screening in San Antonio, in our hometown. And I said, I will not stand for that. So we held our own. We made a deal with Sony directly, and they allowed us to screen it early. I think it was a day or 2 days before the movie dropped, and we invited um, dozens of winners. We gave people tickets to watch it, and then we invited our friends. We invited some of our cosplayer friends, and then we invited Ghostbuster charity groups in town. My team. I think some of there might have been a few folks from our Austin team there as well. But yeah, it was a big deal to me because I'd never done anything like hosting our own private advanced screening. I thought there wasn't a thing that you could do, and we made it happen, and just wild, wild, and it turned out great. Everybody had a great time. Everybody had a blast. We gave out like Sony hooked us up. Sony gave us posters to give away. They were like, "Here you go, do this, do that." It was a blast. We had a great time. It was a great movie. We all had fun, and yeah, we'll eventually get around to doing another one. But Ghostbusters meant a lot to me, and the fact that there wasn't a screening was more of incentive to kind of host one ourselves. And so yeah, that's why we did it. And some of you folks probably watching were there with us, and we appreciate you guys being there. All right.
Yeah, I got to go to that too. And yeah, it was cool to see the chapter of Ghostbusters there, um, enjoying it in full costume there. And yeah, I knew this meant a lot to you, so I made sure I went to it.
I'm gonna give a shout out to some of the guys on our team who've uh, worked really hard this year. I've already mentioned Ray, who's gone to a few events with me, and Tommy, who's out there. He did one of the best panels out of everybody this year when he moderated a panel with Sean Gunn and Michael Rooker, and I sort of helped put Tommy in that on that stage. I knew of Michael and Sean, and Michael Rooker is a character. He's just a guy that just likes to have fun no matter where he's at, no matter what he's doing. He's that type of guy. And so I knew I needed somebody to sort of match that level of enthusiasm, or just Tommy is the happiest guy on our team. And I say that without with total respect to everybody else.
Total disrespect to
I
everyone.
meant to say no disrespect, but with respect to everybody else. When Tommy's laughing, his laugh is infectious. So I was like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have Tommy moderate this panel because I have a really good feeling that this will work out. It ended up being one of the best panels this town has ever seen. It was off the wall. It was laugh out loud funny for like the entire time. and Tommy, who's got a huge background in commentating for wrestling shows and being a wrestling announcer, he can sort of traverse that stuff, and he can sort of allow it to flourish and ring it in when he needs to, and guide it where it needs to go. And he killed it. He did a fantastic job. So shout out to Tommy for that panel because it's one of my favorites that has been done this year. And then shout out to Jose who was in the chat earlier because he did a panel with Matthew Wood, and that was just another one where I'm like, we need we need somebody who can absolutely blow this panel away. And I knew Jose could pull it off. And I know how knowledgeable he is. I know how big of a fan of Matthew Wood he is. And it turned out to be the absolute best thing. They hit so many great stories that Matthew had. Um, Jose killed it, man. He did a fantastic job. And so, yeah, shout out to the guys on our team. Mike, he's done like 50 interviews, it feels like, this year, interviewing wrestlers, both local as well as like some old legends. He's done an incredible job. It's just been a complete team effort, and I could not ask for a better group. I'm not going to get emotional, but I could not ask for a better team. Yeah, these guys have been fantastic, and I feel like we're only getting started here, even though it's been an insanely busy year. I feel like we're still only just getting started. Do you have any more moments? I know we can't list everything, but I know we're getting the big ones out of the way.
Yeah, I think San Diego Comic Con was I think the biggest moment for me personally. Just never thought I'd be able to, because it's so complex and there's a lot of timing involved, a lot of luck involved for hotels and badges and that whole thing. So I mean, just being able to get there, go there, um, a major movie coming out that week, us getting to see it multiple times. Um, it was just fantastic, man. My first visit to San Diego, it was really cool. It's one that I'll never forget, and hopefully in 2025 we'll be back there with the cast of Superman, and hopefully I get to meet James Gunn. That'd be really cool.
Right?
Um, yeah. Um, yeah. Other than that, I mean, Rebel Scum Con's gonna happen again. Space Con's probably gonna happen again. Um, hopefully, it's somewhat of a repeat and more in 2025. And um, I can't. I don't want to look too forward to 2025, but I mean, 2024 was probably the greatest year as far as fandom and pop culture and movies and interviews, and yeah, it was just wild, the amount of stuff we did, the amount of
Great
stuff you
said.
did, I didn't do,
We
but
did. We did.
yeah, we did a lot of stuff together. You did South by Southwest, which was terrific. You talked to Sydney Sweeney, Nick Cage.
Fantastic Fest. We hung out with well, we didn't hang out, but we met Stan. Shoot, Sebastian Stan.
Yeah. You met Sebastian Stan. I didn't. I think you went
Oh,
a
you
day.
weren't there. You were
I wasn't
watching
there.
his movie, I think, when that happened, right?
I didn't get to see any of his movies. I think he had 2 movies there, right?
I thought
Or
you were
was it just
watching
The
one of them.
Apprentice? But I got to meet Elijah Wood for the first time.
You met
That
Elijah.
was real cool. Got a selfie with him.
That is
Um,
correct.
I guess that's an honorable mention.
Oh,
But yeah,
that's more of an honorable mention, I think.
yeah, it is more of an
Do not diss
more
Elijah
than
like that.
yeah, he was really cool. Talk to him. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so many, a lot of cool things that we're not talking about could be the best thing for a lot of people's years. That's that's how crazy 2024 was.
It was wild.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find that Elijah photo. I haven't found it yet. I know it's out there somewhere.
I put it on my Instagram
That might be where.
if you want to go directly to it. Um, yeah, the Fantastic Fest experience was terrific. I met another Star Wars podcaster there that he actually wrote for the Star Wars Encyclopedia. He's published, and he's probably going to come on my podcast to talk about his experience with that. Um, so,
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
you and Elijah, man. But best buds.
Yeah, we're
Best
best friends now.
buds.
Yep.
Raids in the chat saying our live stream with Alex Garfin, who plays Jordan Kent on Superman and Lois. Great stream with him. Super talented kid. I say he's a kid, but he's like 21. Um, super bright future. Whatever he does, wherever he goes next, he's gonna kill it. And yeah, just the nicest guy. Best conversation with him. Honestly, seriously. Um, More stuff. Do you think you would do early screening passes for Final Destination? Usually we will get some sort of indication as we get closer to the movie. So usually about a month or less we'll know. So stay following and turn on those notifications so you find out when. The new Superman movie is gonna flop hard. I don't know, man. I mean, the trailer is the
Yeah,
fourth. The trailer is the fourth most watch. So if it happens, if it flops, I will be surprised.
yeah.
And also, James is trying to keep the budget under. James is trying to keep the budget from going haywire. That way, there's a better opportunity for them to actually turn a profit on this. Ray says, "It was me." Yes, that was you. Talking about Fantastic Fest. Cool. I there's still a lot to mention that we've done. Great screenings that we've all watched together. Super cool stuff. And then I can't forget to mention coolest moment for me. Uh, Not the WrestleCast showing stuff, but moderating a panel with Rosario and Hayden. And I've talked about this a lot, so I won't get into any details. But just two of the best people, and look at that crowd. It was just a, a magical night and super difficult because of just the sort of the rules that I was given for that panel, what I could talk about, what I couldn't talk about, couldn't get questions from the audience, which is like what I enjoy the most. It's not my questions, it's sort of like feeding off the fan questions and doing that whole dance. And we didn't get to do that. So it literally was just me and these two shooting the shit for 45 minutes. But they were just super nice and humble best friends on that stage. And the crowd was eating everything up. Every word they spoke, they absolutely loved it. So, yeah, we had an absolute blast. They get it. And if that doesn't look like Star Wars Celebration in San Antonio, I don't know what does. So yeah, we've been so fortunate and so lucky this year, 2024, to be a part of so many fantastic moments, so many great events, and we've done our best to kind of give. our followers and our fans an opportunity to go on this ride with us. We're going to keep continuing to interview the the writers, the stunt choreographers, the actors, the directors, and the stars of all your favorite shows and movies. That's what we enjoy doing, and we're going to keep doing that. And we're going to bring you some of the best coverage from all of these major events from across the country or maybe around the world. We don't know. Maybe we'll see. Not saying yes or no to that, but we'll see if that's possible. Did I talk about Zombieland with Rosario? I did not. I did not talk about Zombieland. We have kind of a short amount of time, and we focused a lot on Ahsoka because I know that's what everybody was there for. And then we got into a few other projects that she was a part of, but not Zombieland. That was one of them. All right. I think we've talked about as many of the big ones as possible. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's again, it's been a blast. 2024 has been an absolute thrill ride, and we can't tell you just how much we've enjoyed it, and gonna keep bringing it to you guys. Is really what it's about. Happy New Year, everybody! Hope your Christmas was great. Happy New Year to you. Stay safe out there. Don't drink and drive. Uh, be careful with fireworks. I've been hit once or twice with a couple of bottle rockets, and I do not recommend that to anybody. Dave, what is Star Wars Stuff podcast doing next?
We're about to release our own 2024 recap show here in a bit. Tomorrow, we're going to do a pre show and a post show for Skeleton Crew episode 6, which is the one directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, I believe. Should be a doozy. And yeah, check us out at Star Wars Stuff Podcast on all the all the socials and your favorite podcasting app.
Hell yeah, sir. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody in the chat. I can promise you we already have some advanced screenings that are in the works. So hopefully you get a chance to make it. Stay tuned because we will be giving out our next movie in about a week, I would say, give or take a day or two. So y'all stay following us. Turn on those notifications. That way you can get notified as soon as those tickets drop for the Countdown City Geeks. My name is Ted, aka Steady, signing off from 2024. And this guy to my right on your screen has been a big part of that adventure. So y'all make some noise, and thank you again to Super Dave for just being awesome this entire time. Thank you, Dave. Merry Christmas. I don't know if I told you that, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Ted. I just want to say thank you, especially to Ted, aka Steady, for having me along for this wonderful 2024 ride and doing late night podcasts, answering all my phone calls when I call him. I call Ted a lot. I got to talk to him about stuff, and he's the only one that understands me out there. So, so yeah, thanks, Ted. And it was a fantastic 2024, one for the books, and may the force be with you all.
Thanks, everybody. Check out the CountdownCityGeeks.com website. We have new reviews, new interviews, and a lot new stuff on the site. So go check it out. And we're adding stuff almost daily now. So please, please, please go check it out and leave a comment. Why don't you? This is us signing off from 2024. We will see you on the other side of 2025. Y'all have a great night. Happy New Year, everybody.